Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me. I am, as of when I'm recording this, it's like 1:31 p.m. here in India, where I arrived yesterday. I am visiting my family for a few days, and I'm gonna try to be soft like this, um, just because my folks are sleeping in the house. And I just wanted to invite you guys to look at something. Hi, Jennifer. So nice to have you join me live here. I want to invite you guys to look at something which is about being proud. You guys, this is a feeling I didn't have access to until very recently. The more and more I'm recognizing as I go on how proud I am of who I am and who I'm becoming, and how much more I'm willing to acknowledge. And also, I can see how the choices I've been making since I was a kid, perhaps even before that, have really been leading me towards something that nobody else can validate, but only I can acknowledge. And so I'm just now about starting to really embody acknowledgement of that a lot more. And I wanted to share that today with you guys as an inspiration, hopefully, and more so as an invitation for you to start looking at that amazing, I'm just going to call it feeling, because honestly, it is sort of like a feeling vibration of being proud of yourself. And I'll tell you what, I moved here, not moved here, I'm visiting my family here in India, and right in the middle of the night recording is good jet lag. But I was just yesterday, quite a few things transpired that in my previous version me situation I would have had massive reactions to, and nothing actually here. Even though when I was about to fly down to here for quite a while, I had this really terrifying kind of feeling. I was excited about coming here to visit my family, and at the same time I was a little bit terrified because I was like, oh my god, it's that old environment where the old means to actually physically live. Is that going to be a trigger for me? How's that going to show up? So I had like a little bit of that going on. But actually, ever since landing here and being with my folks, I'm realizing that now I have access to a very different level of vulnerability with myself. And for the very first time in my life, I am seeing that being reflected back at me through my parents. We are literally having such a wonderful, vulnerable time together. And so when I say that something occurred that triggered me, was ironically not here, but back home in Seattle. What happened, not relevant, but something that was really big for my old self. I'm just going to use these, terminologies for the purpose of this conversation. But I was realizing something occurred that's basically beyond what I I mean, that's a big no for me. There are certain things that when they show up in my life, I'm like, nope, not having this. Nope, not at all. Doesn't work for me, not having this. And in the past, with that doesn't work for me, not having this, used to have attached with it a lot of reaction, honestly. Like I somewhere had this insidious, unknown point of view that I had to defend myself, I had to fight for myself, I had to fight to exist or have a point of view. Weird. But let me know if you've ever had that, especially in your interactions and engagements with people. And so I used to have that a lot. And I really also share this as a testimony, you guys, because the tools that we talk about in this space are the tools that I literally have been living and breathing for the over last decade of my life. And there are moments I know where it feels like, is it working? Maybe I should just go to that route of going to find an answer rather than be in question, because, I don't have any reference point for how it's going to work or how it's going to look like. I'm just following the whispers. I'm just following my knowing. I'm just choosing more of what's light. And yes, it reflects and transpires in so many ways, but also a lot of times it does not directly. And that's where you've got to lean more towards what you know, lean more towards, those subtle awarenesses that you have. And the most fundamental tool, you guys, that really started moving the needle in this direction for me was the light and heavy tool from Access Consciousness, which is basically the simplicity of it. It's recognizing that that which is true for you, that is congruent with you, will always have a sense of lightness, space, and expansion. And tell that to somebody who's a walking, talking reaction on two legs. That was me. Definitely that was me 10, 15 years ago. But that was me even like 2 years ago. This new space that I've recently been gaining more and more access to, of not being reactive. And by the way, I really want to highlight one thing about that, because not being reactive does not mean you become a doormat. No. And somewhere in my world, I didn't have access to that choice up until actually I'm just recognizing it now and acknowledging it now that I had access to that choice. I didn't have access to the choice where I can still have me without having to, how do I even say it? Without having to basically have this unnecessary energy of need to explain, justify, fight for whatever weird stuff. But tell me if you get what I'm saying, where you're perceiving, that what's light is what's true for you. You're perceiving those whispers of lightness all through the journey. And it's like this weird space where even though you're perceiving it, it feels like you're still somewhere being held back with that heavy reactionary space and land. And so you guys, like this whole this group, the title of the group and the title of my specialty class, Cultivating Trust in You, literally was born out of my own journey. My journey has literally been about cultivating trust in myself. Now I'll tell you something really, really, really fascinating. Last night, it's night right now here. It's weird. Time gets so weird when you travel across the globe. So yesterday, whatever that means, many, many hours ago, I found a diary, I'll share with you guys. I'll share a picture of it. It's like a folder that has a diary and a lot of loose papers that has my poetry from my younger days. And I used to write a lot of poetry. And so I started reading it. And I was, first of all, really, it got me to see how depressed I used to be. Most of my poetry, if not all, has this undertone of melancholy in it, and also a gleam and a hint of possibilities. So it was really fascinating. I had such a meltdown reading some of those poems, because I remember I was reading one particular poem that I wrote in 2005, and I was literally sobbing, and I shared it with my parents, and we had this really intimate moment together through that, because I was sharing with them as well that I remember how I used to feel. I remember how literally nothing around me made sense. Nothing. I felt like such a misfit. And I tried so freaking hard. I tried so hard to fit in. I tried so hard to be the nice girl. I tried so hard to be everything that I can be, to become someone who's received, who's loved in a way that I desired. And don't get me wrong, I'd received a lot of love growing up, and it was very conditional, if I were to be very honest. Like, only loved for being the nice girl, only loved for doing the good things, totally rejected and totally cut off energy from if I'm not doing something that other people want me to do. So, give me a yes or something in comments if you know what that feels like, because I know for sure that's not just my journey. For a lot of us, we grew up, all of us, like, do you know anybody who grew up in an unconditional environment? So this is really not to also make anybody wrong, not to make about it's not about making our parents wrong, our cultures wrong, our society wrong. It's really not about that, and it's not about saying they're right either. It's really about acknowledging the difference of you. And I was just reading those poems. I was like bawling my eyes out and really looking at, oh my God, I'm so proud of myself, because I kept going. I cannot tell you, I did not know how this is going to change, but I knew that it's going to change. I did not know how I'm going to create a different life, but I knew that I'm going to create a different life. there was no step of the way where I had the answer, but every step of the way, and especially ever since I found the tools of access consciousness, I think in 2011 is when I took my first bars class. And in that first bars class, the first thing that popped out was the light and heavy tool, because it was the first time I felt like someone or something is getting me, that the choices that I've been making is not based on logic, because my family used to seek a lot of logic from me. And no wonder they had a tough time with me, because I did not function on logic. And so reading those poems and really looking at that stuff really got me to see how much I have changed and how much I have created exactly and way greater than what I'd always desired. And now, what else is possible for the future me 10 years down the line from now? What else is possible that I haven't even considered, you know? Truly. So, like reading that box of poetry and reading, especially that one little poem, it's actually in Hindi, or I would have literally just read it to you, or maybe I just will read it to you and then maybe give a loose translation version tomorrow. But it was literally a poetry that was me encouraging myself to keep going while acknowledging how hard it is for me. And so when I was reading that, I was bawling my eyes out, and I was like, oh my God, I remember how it was. I remember how it used to be. I remember how hard I tried. And somewhere inside me, I felt like nothing's working. And at the same time, I kept going because my knowing told me different. My knowing told me something is. And I kept on leaning towards the whispers and the possibilities that really were absolutely not tangible at all. And literally, my life today that I've created is nothing even 1% close to the life I grew up in. I get to be me, and I chose that. And it wasn't an easy journey. And that's where I really want to highlight that trusting yourself, having intimacy with yourself, it sounds like, and it is, but it sounds like a lot of it is like, wow, my life is going to be amazing. It's going to feel awesome all the time. I'm going to be the first one to break your myth, my friend. It's going to be absolutely rewarding, and it's not going to feel good a lot of times. And so if you want to say yes to trusting yourself, if you want to say yes to having an intimate relationship with yourself and with life and your creations, I'm sorry to break it to you, it's not going to feel good. It's really not about feeling good. It's about getting better, and the reward that you receive from that all through the journey, and the gifts that you receive through that all through the journey cannot be described in words, my friends. I'm so grateful to be here right now and to get to have this perspective. And in the weirdest of ways, like I shared at the beginning, something occurred back home that was absolutely triggering for me, that really got me into question even more about my future, and to really acknowledge also that how much I have gathered clarity, which, by the way, in this group, the Cultivating Trust in You, my contribution group here on Facebook, in this group, you have a 7-day Cultivating Clarity challenge, you guys. I'm not kidding. I live and breathe that challenge. I did it for 7 days with you guys here, but I never stop. I never stop asking that question, that what is the energy I'd like my life to be? I literally use that question as my navigation compass. Like literally anything that does not match the energy that I want my life to be, it's so easy once you build the clarity of what is the energy you like your life to be. It becomes easier and easier to say no when it doesn't work for you. And so literally, if I were to break down my journey and tell you that what is the one thing that I did that worked on every step, was gaining the clarity of what doesn't work for me. Literally, so much of the journey was like, was like, because I'm on the journey. I'm still creating a beautiful future that I have no idea how beautiful it can be, but show me, universe. It literally is about recognizing not this, not this. How many of you guys have had that? How many of you are way more clear about what is it that you do not want your life to be? The only difficulty that occurs is that a lot of times, with that awareness of not this, we get really caught up into not this and the resistance of it and the avoidance of it and the, whole charge around that, rather than not this, bye bye. Okay, what else? So that is your practice, my friends. That is your practice. Recognize those moments, those places, those events, those people, those situations that arise that are like not this. And notice if you ever get caught up in that, and what if your only job was to like really let go of that, like disconnect from getting caught up in that and work through, do whatever is required that assists you, supports you towards that, and really cultivate a fierce, fucking aggressive presence with what is the energy you'd like your life to be? What do you desire to actualize? What do you desire to create? Okay, not this. So, what information is this, not this, giving me about what I do desire? The more and more and more you start focusing your energy on that, the easier it becomes for even universe to contribute to you. And so I just want to, first of all, unabashedly and shamefully, unashamedly, sorry, not shamefully, talking about that, unshamefully, if that's even a word, uh, gonna say I'm so proud of myself, you guys, because I have been reading my journals from back in the days when I was living here, and especially that one poem from 2005 really got me, it hit me really in the right spot, and I'm like, I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself that I kept going. So can you please, 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 no matter where you are, how great you're feeling right now, or how fucked up you think you might be, just take one moment right here to maybe acknowledge that. Can you be proud of yourself that you keep going? You do not quit, even if you can find 10,000 reasons that tell you no, you're not doing it right. Can you please acknowledge that actually you never quit because you're here, you are going on? And so, what do you need to cultivate a practice of more that would allow this to be an even fruitful journey for you? What would it take? It's the most amazing feeling where like literally things are going on around you that are trashy as fuck, and you have you. Oh my god, I've been asking for that since forever. And now I have access to it, and I'd like to have way more of this, way more of me, way more of clarity, way more of trust, way more of intimacy, way more of I'm so proud of myself. So, that is, my friend, something that I really do wish for you too. What would it take for you to be so freaking proud of yourself and so freaking proud of the person that you're becoming and are right now too? That nothing else matters, that you have you. And so I'm just starting to, it's just the fucking beginning. I'm just starting to access that place for myself. And that's what this Cultivating Trust in You journey and, even the programs that I run are about, really getting to that place where we practice being that with ourselves every freaking day. It's not something that you get to and then go away from and then come back to at all. It's a space that you never leave because it's you. You never leave you. So, would you be willing to have that? And would you be willing to have you? And would you be willing to be so freaking proud of you for everything that you have been and everything that you are becoming? All right, my friend. I hope that inspires you a little bit or gives you some sort of a different perspective or takeaway. I'd love to hear from you. Anything that you gather, or just say hello and tell me where you're joining from. Leave me a comment. I love to connect with you guys and get to know you a little bit more too. So I hope to hear from you, and I hope to say hello back to you somewhere, sometime, maybe in comments or in messages soon, or in a class maybe. So anyway, this is one of my intention with this space is I want to use this community space to really have these sort of vulnerable conversations with you, let you guys in a little bit on what's going on with me, but always from that place of inviting you to what's truly possible for you. So know that if you're watching this and you're here, I'm so freaking grateful for you, your presence, your energy, and more importantly, your willingness to keep going. So keep going, my friend, and let's create a life that we've always desired. Bye bye.